Hey Downtimers, today we're looking at creepy creatures from Walmart. You can locate this or shop for this on walmart.com. I'll put a link in the description below. It's a 50-piece bucket and it sells for $9.97, I believe is what it is currently. And as you notice, I'm doing an unbucketing or an unboxing. And so far we have a giant ant and a giant scorpion and some rocks. There's 13 creatures in this 50 count bucket. And all the creatures are rather large. Giant scale, I guess, well, colossal scale, I guess is what it would be to most miniature figures. You see the snake is really large there, very long. One thing I do like about these is the plastic shines quite a bit in the light, so these creatures end up looking pretty slimy, so it's a pretty cool effect. And a lot of these creatures are not very intimidating, although some are. That could very well be, I guess, a bebolith. The grasshopper is not very intimidating, so but you can still work that in somehow, I guess. The alligators are probably closer to scale than just about anything in the whole bucket. There's 2 alligators in here and lots of rocks. I think about 10 rocks. And if you actually prime coat those with gray, they actually look pretty good. It takes a little bit of the sheen, the plastic looking shiny sheen off. And there are 2 lizards in the bucket as well. If you did a little crafting on these, you might can turn them into maybe dragons, maybe. I don't know. Maybe you could just leave them as huge lizards and have like lizard folk worship them or something. I don't know. And of course, there's lots of terrain in this. The terrain is very similar to the farm animals bucket that you get from walmart.com that I talk about in the first Gaming on the Cheap video. So if you look at that, you see the farm animals bucket. It'll give you a good idea that this is some of the terrain that you can find in that. I believe that bucket is $15, and this bucket, of course, here is $9.97. Here's, I guess this would have to be a giant bebolith. I was a little bit disappointed. The legs are going to need a hot water bath, but other than that, it's great. And the texture on the spiders is actually pretty good. It's pretty good detail on those. Lots of trees, I guess oak type, coniferous trees, and then the more shrub type trees. I'm not sure what this is. I guess maybe a giant yellow fly. I'm not sure exactly. Here's the other alligator. And the alligators actually have a fair amount of detail on them. The detail on the creatures actually isn't too bad. Here's, I guess, a coniferous tree, kind of like a pine tree, I guess. There's quite a few of those in here. And the other trees, I guess they're supposed to be kind of like oak trees, the ones that are a little bit smaller. And yeah, I guess they could pad that. See, the little pines, I guess there's supposed to be a bit of a pine tree there. And these here, the ones I just took out there, the small ones, I guess they're supposed to be smaller trees, kind of like oak trees or something like that. Yeah, and some of the plastic pieces are bent from just being in the bucket for God knows how long. After I'm done pulling all those out, I'll pull out 2. It actually has 2 palm trees in the mix, and the palm trees are actually pretty decent. Probably want to do a little bit of crafting on those, a little bit of painting, maybe some flocking on the base with some darker sand, and of course now the bark of the palm trees are definitely going to need a darker tan paint. But a little bit of work on those and they actually could look pretty good. I like the palm trees. And the other shrubs or trees or whatever you want to call them, they actually can work too, maybe with a little bit more crafting on them. But they make for a decent background, especially when you have a bunch of them together. Here's, I guess this would have to be a giant bombardier beetle. I think that's how we pronounce it. I like the exoskeleton. The shell there is very shiny. And of course there's a smaller counterpart that I already pulled out. Just a piece of plastic in the bottom. I'm not sure why they did that, except maybe to make it look a little bit bigger. And this bottom piece is actually kind of hard to get out. It's almost too big to fit in. And it's the same exact tile piece or terrain piece as what you find in the farm animals bucket, I believe. So obviously the same company makes these. And again, it looks like we have about 13 oversized creatures out of the 50 pieces in the bucket. So everything else is terrain. So if you're in need of some terrain and maybe a few of these miniatures, it's probably worth $10. Otherwise, maybe not. But if you're going to do something like, I was thinking like a King Kong kind of theme, you know, the giant snake and all the giant creatures, and then finally maybe a big grand finale battle with King Kong. That would be kind of fun to do. And now the hunt begins for giant ape. But yeah, I think some of these work for standard. I mean, they are pretty big, but standard type D&D creatures, like especially the Bevelith spiders and so forth. And I just wanted to do some close-ups here with some 28mm Mage Knight miniatures that we use in our game to give you guys a little bit of more of an idea about the scale of some of these creatures. Really big. Really big. So if you're looking for like a boss fight, maybe you've got, you know, some smaller miniatures, and then you can add one of these towards the end for a big boss fight. And of course, this set would be perfect for any kind of dinosaur themed adventure. That's it, guys. If you would, please give us a like. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And thanks for watching, guys.